Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on with this nice red candle here we just saw recently, and if it's going to potentially recover, what's going on there. It is a typical bear flag breakdown or breakout, however you want to word it, because honestly, at this point yesterday, it was looking like it wanted to break down, and it definitely did. So we'll talk about that and much more. Also kind of highlights, a few things from HyblockCapital as well as just some really good news here from BitGet. Okay, so again, I forgot to mention and highlight that, but it's touching on the BitGet, benefit there. Obviously, we had some members here receive a nice, healthy little competition prize. It was really cool to be able to do that. Thank you for participating. Of course, we'll have another one very, very soon. But the good news with BitGet, just to kind of throw that out there, kind of help you guys know, because I have a lot of members using the BitGet exchange. We have a option to be able to link your BitGet account to TradingView. Okay, so most of my members are using TradingView. It's a very, very awesome tool, as you can kind of see. It's built into a lot of exchanges, but what's not built in is your indicators, right? So if you were to come in here, go down to BitGet here and hit connect, you'd be able to link your account and effectively be able to gain access to trading live with TradingView through your exchange, or in this case, BitGet. Obviously, there's a handful of other ones as well, depending on which ones you're using, but I can tell you that majority of our members are using BitGet, and that's really awesome to be able to have that opportunity, right? So great news there. Really happy to see that. I love BitGet, one of my favorite exchanges. And keep in mind too, with our website here as well, if you want to become a better trader, cryptocash.tag is a site. Obviously, you can learn how to become a better trader. I've got Trading Academy videos. I've got signals that I send out. We have a free trial for that. And I also provide, of course, an amazing community where we all learn and grow together. Okay. And again, if you want to go to sponsors, click on sponsors on our website here. You can use the registration links to get some sign-up bonuses and trading competitions for a lot of different exchanges. Bybit and BitGet both offer that. And Mexi Global is a U.S. Essentially, those who in the U.S. can use this exchange without a VPN. Okay, now even though I have a VPN and some benefits here, of course, there's a lot of different things you can choose and utilize, but generally speaking, those are all factored in here as well. So keep that in mind. So again, just some really cool positive stuff there. We got to highlight the good when the market is not fantastic. Okay, so that's again the reason why I like to say those things and emphasize that. And we've got a tremendous amount of community members who are doing really well. We'll check out my Discord here in a moment. But I want to jump into the charts to kind of give you a perspective here really quick, just so you know, and you can kind of see this is a bear flag breakdown that I was mentioning yesterday. That could happen, and of course it did. In fact, yesterday around 6 p.m., I was traveling to my girlfriend's house, and we were going to essentially take a look at the charts and get some things going, because a lot of my alerts were triggering for some short positions. Unfortunately, we missed that opportunity. It would have been a healthy, awesome short, but a lot of my members caught that. So good job, very well done, paying attention and being aware of these indications that we get from time to time. There's no guarantees, of course. It could have turned itself around, but it did feel like it was working itself down a descending type of pattern, as well as the fact that we had that bear flag breakdown. And just so you know, in case you're curious what that looks like, this is generally what it should look like. Comes down, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern. 2 is essentially the corner, 3 is the highest point, which we just saw yesterday, and then of course 4 is the breakdown. So that's generally the structure of what a bear flag will look like, and that is essentially cut and dry here, exactly what occurred. All right, so again, hindsight's 2020, I get that. Just because I mentioned that could happen doesn't mean it would have, right? And unfortunately, missed some opportunities, not being able to get into my short positions as expected. But again, that happens too. You got to kind of roll with it. And no one's perfect. No one can catch everything all the time. There's just not enough time in the day. There are automated trading bots, of course, that you can use, which we are constructing at this point to make sure that we can bring some day trades to the community. And that'll be an awesome feature as well. Keep you posted on that. I think we're about a month or two out from there. But generally speaking, what we're going to look at is some standard stuff here. Okay, so first things first, traditional markets are doing pretty well. In fact, if we take a look at S&P, it's ascending. This ascending type of wedge pattern is still holding. Okay, so great news is this oftentimes breaks to the upside. So there's a good chance we could see a breakout through that 4,100 mark for S&P. And if that happens, that's a great sign for the regular market and ultimately a good sign for Bitcoin. So to me, seeing positivity on the daily for traditional markets here on a Friday going into the weekend leads me to believe we could see a green weekend here from Bitcoin. Now, when I say green weekend, I'm not saying the price is going to shoot up like it has before. There is a potential we'll see something along this lines again, but I don't think that's very realistic to anticipate. What is realistic is for the price to potentially further come down a little bit further to bounce off of 30 on the RSI, or to try to retest 50 here soon, get a little bit of a bounce. Now, a little bounce, what I'm talking about here, I would say best case scenario, 22,800. That's probably a likely scenario. In fact, why don't we take a quick look at some liquidation levels so you can kind of see where we're at with certain things. Because we take a look at this heat map here, we can see there's a tremendous amount of liquidations at this price point. Okay, so again, right here to 22,800 and 22,600, some key level supports that were lost, and of course the price squeezed even further. So someone super greedy was able to make some healthy profits on the way down there with that massive short. So unfortunately, a lot of other folks got stuck in the crossfire. We even have some long positions that are still open that are still perfectly safe and fine, by the way. But we need to kind of allow for that to kind of come back, right? It's exactly the reason why we use cross margin instead of isolated margin on some of our positions here with leverage, right? Different strategies for different time frames. Obviously, we'll need to adjust our strategy as time goes on, but that's generally where we're at. And this is where we can see some positivity, of course, where the price action didn't come lower than 22,000. So 22K is a tentative bottom for the moment. We'll take a look again at the charts there, but generally speaking, more, just pretty obvious liquidations here. We can see here the delta, we got a tremendous amount of shorts or longs that were liquidated essentially, and we can just kind of see that there's a lot of positions that got just wrecked here in this range here. So if we can kind of see those were some long 25 and 100 X's right in this range getting liquidated. Furthermore, as well, we can see with open interest, there's some positions available, of course, right here at the 23,000 mark and even higher as well. So in truth, we don't have a lot of trading in this time frame just yet, so we're still kind of establishing a range. So in that sense, it's kind of too early, too premature to take an entry, but on the same accord, some positive sentiment from the traditional markets here today. If we close green on traditional markets, I think we will see a potentially green weekend. And let's talk about that. What does a green weekend look like? Well, it could be only a couple $100 for Bitcoin. I don't think we're going to see a breakout through 22,800 or 23,000 this weekend. I think we're going to see some small profits being taken, and of course the price slowly recovering a little bit. And again, slow recovery, probably up to the next Fibonacci retracement level with a potential rejection there. We can see here, this level here at 22,850, once again, a previous or current Fibonacci retracement level was hit really hard with those liquidations we saw. So we saw a lot of liquidations at 22,850 and 22,600. So in this little range here, we got a lot of liquidation. Therefore, it could and very well should be a resistance level moving forward, right? Because again, it was a support in the past. The price went down 2 days in a row to that level. Now we can expect the price comes up to get initially rejected by that. Okay, so I would say here being a 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level, 22,850 would be a better case scenario for this weekend if we were to come up that high. That's essentially what we could see. Again, traditional markets doing well, and we're a bit on the overextended side on the smaller time frames. Leads me to believe we'll see a slight recovery, but it's not going to be a rally by any stretch. It'll just be a small little blip like we see here to the upside with a potential of 22,850. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there on the daily. Daily looks still pretty unfortunate. I forgot to mention we are below the 50-day set moving average now. So keep that in mind. Even though this candlestick hasn't closed yet, it seems fairly obvious that that'll be the new resistance at 22,850. Okay, again, that's right where the 50-day SMA is averaging itself out. Keep in mind the 200-day SMA is averaging itself out here as well, about 19,700. So heaven forbid the price continues lower, that should essentially work as a support zone. Okay, so again, daily not looking fantastic. The 4-hour is looking okay in the sense that we are overextended to the downside here. We got this potential bottom at 30 on the RSI, and we've seen this previously, right, where the price comes down to 30 on the RSI and slowly recovers. This is the kind of recovery that I'm expecting to see. Again, not super strong, but something along those lines to at least retest this descending trend and to get rejected. At least the first time, right? We can expect a trend line to get rejected initially when it tries to test it. Will it break through? Only eventually will that happen. Either way you look at it, when it looks at the overextension here on the 4-hour, there's a decent chance we could see some upside based on that sentiment, but there's no doubt that we are below all three moving averages, and it's important to recognize that we are on the wrong side of the tracks for a long position. But again, if you're going to do a tight long with some really tight profit targets leading into that Fibonacci retracement level, that makes sense to me if I'm going to take a long position. Okay, and I'd probably average myself down. I'd probably enter at 22,400 with a 22,000 even zone, essentially in that little $400 range, get potentially filled at a better price point and allow for the price to come up from there. Okay, there's no guarantees it's going to come up, but it seems likely that we'll see a slight recovery and a slight anticipation to the upside once this levels itself out. Okay, and again, this weekend, based on everything we've seen here so far, it would make sense that people would be adding to their position because this is a much better price point than we had before, and that causes that anticipation of trying to add to your position and increase that volume at that profile. All right, so again, the 4 hour I would say isn't fantastic, but it is overextended to the downside, and it's important to recognize that we should see sideways action followed by a potential slight relief increase, if you will, moving forward in the next 24 to 48 hours. Taking a look at the 1 hour, let's see if that kind of reaffirms anything. Honestly, it's hard to really note because when you look at such a significant decrease like this, you get some really funky funky indications here, right? So obviously the conversion line is below the baseline. We got that momentum to the downside. Conversion line is coming into the price action here soon. So unless the price drops soon, there's a great chance that it could recover. Okay, that's generally what this is telling us. Keep in mind though, the cloud is averaging itself out at that resistance range. So keep in mind we will have difficulty crossing the upper and lower lead if we were to lead into this weekend like this, right? Could very well see rejection. So again, if the price were to come back up to 22.8, I would say that might be a potential shorting opportunity, but furthermore, a long into that area would make sense too. Again, just some things that I'm kind of considering. I've been enjoying and liking the results of taking trades into the weekends because weekends can be fairly you can anticipate what's going to happen on the weekends a lot easier sometimes than the weekdays at this point. Just lately, the way that things have been going, we've seen some red weeks and then the weekends are green. Or the inverse applies where we have some green weeks and red weekends. It's a really common characteristic kind of have that inverse pairing. But either way, just an observation, take it or leave it. Looking at the hourly here, we can see, of course, we hit a 9 TD sequential, goes sideways to a 6, and yanks itself down. So really, there's no consistency here with overextension. All we can really kind of rely on would be I would say, in my opinion, the 4 hour bouncing off of 30 on the RSI would make sense. In most cases, when you look at its history, of any time we've seen a position where the price comes down to 30, it'll only stay there for maybe a day or two tops, and then it'll slowly recover and come up. Okay, so my expectation isn't that the price is going to shoot high, it's that it's going to recover and try to retest this Fibonacci retracement level at 0.618, 22,850. That's my anticipation. I think we're going to see that either this weekend or early next week. Again, potential, it's potential, right? That's all there is to it. Again, guarantees, no. I think the overall trend right now is still down. We need to come to terms with that. But on the same accord, it makes perfect sense with all this profit to be taken. This is a lot of meat in the bone that's getting slowly gnawed off. And at this point here, if we were to lose this level, keep in mind our next support range is right there at about 21,300. So if you're going to take entry, keep in mind a stop loss just below 21,000 might be advantageous because then, again, it might seem like a large percentage, but you're going to keep yourself safe from some of those large candle wicks. Potentially. Got to emphasize that potential because you never truly know. And again, it sucks to be right when the price is going down like this, but it also hurts to know that a lot of our accounts are kind of got damaged here recently. And that's the way that trading goes, right? The important thing is to use good risk management. Those are all things that I teach in my academy, and ultimately to make sure that you are not using too much at any given time. So I feel comfortable and safe with my position sizing because it's all small positions, even if it is 10 to 20x leverage, right? Again, there's ways to stay safe in this market as long as you're very careful and cautious and not super risky, right? Again, work within your risk tolerance. If that's how you do well, fine. But everyone has different different opinions there, and I think it's important to work within your range. All right. Either way, thanks again for taking the time to watch and learn hopefully something here today. I look forward to working with you if you want to become a better trader. CryptoCash.tech is a site. Once again, congratulations to all my community members. Oh, you know what? Let's highlight this. A quick little emphasis on how awesome some of our community members have done, because I am just super impressed with a lot of my traders that are really, really doing well. So take a quick look at this here. Edico, if I'm saying it correctly, I hope so. Or maybe it's Edico. Awesome stuff. FTM long, 21%. Caught that little dip. Sorry, correction, that's a short. Here's a long, of course. APT, as well as BNB and APE. 132% long. That is a pretty healthy return there. Good job, Alexandria. Again, a lot of great traders here. Compos as well. Zach, obviously Bitcoin short. Nice catch there at 23,005 to 23.2. Holy cow, good job. Again, really awesome stuff. Keep up the good work. Super proud of you guys. Thanks again for always sharing that. We got to, again, highlight the positivity here, even if it's not a great market. Sometimes you just kind of got to roll with it and take profits in either direction. All right, keep up the good work. We'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Thanks again for your time.